Starlink on a service truck in the bush. This is the way to do it. There's that outdoor, here I'll show you, you can't really see it from here, but there's an outdoor access point, and then it connects over to him. Tie up your boots. Happy logging out there, or whatever other remote work you do. Just a how-to video of how to set it up.
What's that?
I just made a quick video, the Starlink system.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's nice to organize trucks. Oh yeah, the only time it f***s up if it's really cold in the winter.
Oh yeah, that's
but
true.
like other than that, it's bulletproof.
I did end up getting a battery that has self-heating, so you can just turn the truck on.
Yeah.
And this thing will run for a full shift. Renogy lithium iron phosphate battery connected to that breaker down there. Yeah, so it's a 100 amp hour battery. Basically with the draw of Starlink and our network system. Good for about a 10 to 12 hour day for power consumption. If you needed longer than that, well, you could install a solar panel to offset your loss. It can operate while the truck is off. And then this is an Orion Smart 12 volt to 12 volt isolated DC-DC charger, and that charges the batteries at 30 amps. Well, it charges off of the alternator at 30 amps while the truck is running, and it only does it while the truck is running, but I did run another wire to switch it on and off in case there was an issue. In the app, you set your tolerances where if your alternator is not putting out enough, it will cut out the charger anyways, so you're not charging when your system's already struggling. Okay, so here's the switch here. I had a different DC-DC charger before, so first it goes through the ignition and then it goes through this switch. You have to have the ignition on and the switch on so you wouldn't kill your batteries, because the last DC-DC charger did not detect lights up blue. And then if there was an issue from here while you're driving, you can just turn it off and now it's not going to charge anymore. And then there's just some network hardware up there to run the outdoor access point. When you put Starlink in an aluminum box, signal for the Wi-Fi does not get out very well, but with the access point outside, it can reach like anywhere from 200 to 300 meters. I did put another access point on the processor, which I could show you. See those little ears there? And that can pick up the signal from further away and boost it. We got an 800 VA inverter by Victron. Victron's the way to go. They have some of the best inverters, really clean sine waves. So this is the switch here. That was what the old inverter is, but now we run the Victron instead. Yeah, we just leave it on while he's out there operating, and he gets service while he's in the bush. I just did a circuit breaker at 63 amps, so we're protected a little bit under what that inverter's rated to do, but we only need it to just run the Starlink and charge some Milwaukee batteries. You could definitely put up enough solar panel to use it indefinitely, but it's just in the way of the service truck. There was a couple things I forgot to mention in that video about the Starlink. That DC-DC charger charges at 30 amps, so with a 100 amp hour battery, you get basically 80 amp hours. So you can pretty much recharge 80 amp hours in about just under 3 hours. If you drive an hour and a half one way, you'll recharge your batteries every day, because it's 3 hours total round trip there and back. You could also add like a 120 volt charger and you can plug it in every night, or like I said, add a 100 watt solar panel, and that would make a huge difference. It's pretty self-sufficient with just the DC-DC charger, depending on what your use is, but you could get a bigger battery. Like, that's one thing you can do. Bigger battery does the trick. And then charge it when you plug in each night, so then when you get back to wherever you park your truck for the day, as long as you have power, you can plug it in. Or you can go for more solar, but I mean, if you're in the winter, that's not going to help you much. So now too, they have Starlink minis, and they can run directly off of 12 volts, so you don't even need an inverter. And the mini has the Wi-Fi built into the dish, so it would be external to the cabinet, which would be great because you could have good good Wi-Fi without having an additional access point. And the power consumption on those Starlink minis, I looked it up, is like significantly less than the Gen 2 Starlink, that's what's on that service truck, is a Gen 2 Starlink. If you really need it to sustain operation in the winter time, you'd probably best go with like a high amp hour lithium battery that has self-heating built in. Say you had one that was like 200 amp hours with self-heating, well then you could just, you wouldn't even necessarily need a DC charger if you're coming home to power every night. Another thing I thought of too was like, if you had a Starlink mini, and I helped a friend out with this, is you can just buy on Amazon like an adapter that goes straight into your cigarette lighter to the Starlink mini. So you could just have 2 of those adapters already pre-ran with like little caps to put on them when you're not using them, so the weather's not exposed to it outside. Run one on your machine if you need service while you're in your machine, and run one on your truck, and then have those magnet mounts you can buy on Amazon that just hook, or they have a bracket to connect to the Starlink mini, and then you can just magnet mount the Starlink mini onto your equipment, and then have the cable already there, and then just connect it when you're in the machine, and then when you go back to your truck, unplug it, put the cap on it, and plug it in to your pickup. And then you don't even need any of the fancy stuff that I've done for it to operate while a vehicle's not running, because you're just going to be in the vehicle machine while it's running. So then you can just have it operate that way through a cigarette lighter. And it's like a $25 cord on Amazon. I mean, I'm sure it goes against Starlink's warranty to use that, but you can check for yourself through the reviews if the cable gauge is enough, because this thing, Starlink Mini, can run anywhere off of 12 to 48 volts. So if you're going lower voltage, then the wire is just going to have to be a thicker gauge in order to support the ampacity. But yeah, for our needs, I think it's working really well. Like, we get the amount of runtime that we want out of it, and for how much time we have to drive to and from the job site, it always ends up charging back to 100%. It works really well for us. It's just been really helpful in making the business able to communicate way better. If you're broke down, it's an isolated system too, so it operates independently from the truck's 12 volt system. So even if that system fails for whatever reason, you're still able to call out and ask for help really easily. Give somebody a call and explain what's going on and what you need to get back up and running. Back when I did this, that 100 amp hour battery was like $600 on sale, but nowadays you can get on Amazon 300 amp hour batteries that have self-heating for like $800, and I'm talking in Canadian, so that's like probably only $500 and something American right now with how bad our dollar is. It's getting to be really impressive what you can do nowadays, do it yourself kind of projects, especially these like low voltage off-grid setups. Hopefully this helps you out if you're thinking about doing one yourself. Give you a little bit of an idea. I would recommend getting a Victron inverter that has a GFI protected receptacle, because that would make things a lot safer for electrocution. It's better to, if you don't know what you're doing with electricity, it's definitely much safer to keep things as a 12 volt system. In certain circumstances, I'm sure like the arc fault could be super dangerous, but our setup's got a BMS built into the battery, and there's also just extra fusing, etc., extra circuit breakers So the arc fault potential in our setup is very low. But that's something that a lot of people don't realize when they get into this 12 volt stuff and they're using lead acid. Like, you could not have a lead acid battery in that compartment, because even if you're only charging at 30 amps, they still vent gases, and you could get a buildup of hydrogen gas inside that compartment. And if there was any sort of spark for whatever reason, you could have an explosion. But I've like seen lots of people in like RV setups, like they'll go buy an inverter and connect it directly to the battery with no fusing, and that's like a huge no-no. You do not want to, especially with a lead acid battery, because there's no BMS built into it. Now, if you have a fault situation, well, now you have the full potential of the full current available to be delivered by that battery, which would be thousands of amps even on a 100 amp hour battery. I'd have to look at that, but I think that's right. Yeah, so I think that pretty much wraps it up. I know that I definitely missed some stuff, but that just gives the basic explanation of what we got going on there for our service truck for Starlink. Comment below if you have any questions. I've left out details on purpose. I'm not gonna like say exact wire gauging sizes and all that. That's for you to do the math, look up what's supposed to be done for wire sizing according to 12 volts and etc. That's your DIY, use at own risk basically. It's good for people to still learn, but you just got to be aware of the risk of when you're learning. Have a good day, and thanks for watching this video. Hopefully it helped you out. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the video. If you scroll down on all of our videos, we have a link to a t-shirt store now, and you can check out the designs. More of them will be coming soon. Thank you.